Hello and welcome to Zoom with Czarny, my interview show. I actually having kind of a surprise episode this week, as I was hoping to replace my Zoom with Czarny slot this week with my Czarny seminar on absentee voting, but that's going to be next week. Now, the reason being, the absentee ballots we were hoping they were going out on Friday. But it looks like it's going to be Monday, Tuesday, and I wanted to have a demonstration ready for you with my own absentee ballot. So I wanted to go ahead and do that. We will be doing that next Friday. But there's still plenty of time to get an absentee ballot. Go to onvote.net and register to vote and get absentee ballots. My interview show this week is with Dave Capria. He's running for a vacant town board seat out in Clay. It's a two-fill vacancy because the previous holder, Kevin Meeker, he was elected to the Onondaga County Legislature, and thus that created a two-fill vacancy that will be in the even year, this presidential year, running for 3 years. Or I'm sorry, he's running for one more year to fill out his term. And so Dave Capria is running for that seat this year. We had a great conversation. Dave and I have known each other for about 20 years now, so I'm always happy to talk to him, and I'm glad that we were able to get him on the program. So stay tuned for that. Voter registration continues at the Board of Elections. We had a couple of stories this weekend drop, and they're all about voter registration. We're in a record. We're over 311,000 voters at this time, and continuing to grow each and every day. We're in mandatory overtime at the Board of Elections, so please, if you haven't updated your voter registration, go to onvote.net, check it first. And then if anything's different, you can online register to vote over at onvote.net, go to your MyDMV account, or do a physical form. Those are the order, by the way, in which we prefer you to do it. We prefer you to do it online because it's a lot easier for us to process than MyDMV, than old-fashioned paper forms. We're about 20,000 voter registration forms behind, so that 311,000, which is already smashed the 2020 record of 308,000, that's going to go through the roof between now and Election Day. So, all right, well, stay tuned for my interview with Dave Capria, running for town board in the town of Clay. Bye-bye. And we're back, and I'm very happy to have my good friend Dave Capria. Dave Capria is running for Clay Town Board, and we've known each other for quite some time now. There's a two-fill vacancy for the Clay Town Board, and Dave has stepped up to the plate to run for office. Dave, welcome, and thank you for coming on Zoom with Czarny.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
So I've known you for a long time,
Yes.
but the viewers may not know who you are yet. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Dave Capria? What's your background? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Okay. I grew up, I was born in Syracuse. I've lived here my whole life. I love Syracuse. I've always promoted it. Syracuse, the surrounding areas. I graduated from Baker High School in Baldwinsville, and now I live in North Syracuse, and I've lived here for just about 25 years now. And I worked at Carrier Corporation until they left in 2004. Majority of them left the jobs. And after that, I was a stay-home dad for 3.5 years. We adopted my beautiful daughter, Lily. And so I stayed home for 3.5 years. Then I got into sales. And during that time of sales, I've always been interested in politics my whole life. When I was a little kid, I remember when Nixon resigned, and I thought that was such a big thing. I was like 7 or 8 years old, something like that. And I thought that was such a big thing. I've just always enjoyed politics. And so I got a little bit involved at the town level. I joined the Town of Clay Democratic Committee and was on the committee for quite a few years. I chaired the committee, ran for office a few times. But I've just really enjoyed like local politics is what I even like more than national. And now, since I've been doing sales and marketing for the last 20 years now, since Carrier left, I have done many different things: insurance broker, I'm also now with WCNY PBS, position that I absolutely love. I've been there for a few months now. I've never sold advertising, but it's great. I mean, some great people over there. I've always been a big fan of WCNY PBS, and now I actually get the opportunity to work with them and some really great people every day.
Yeah, and I know you for a long time. You're a hardworking man. You're a great family man, and
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you decided to run again. Clay is an interesting town, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But let's talk about why you've decided to run for Clay Town Board. It's a seat that opened up because the sitting member Kevin Meeker, who ironically, when he first elected, he was elected on the Democratic line.
Yes, he
People
was.
forget that.
Yes.
But he left to take the county ledge position that was vacated by outgoing speaker Jim Rowland.
Yes.
But now it's open, and it's open in the presidential year. So why decide to run for this seat?
Well, it's exciting. For one thing, it is a presidential year, and that makes it all the more exciting. There are going to be so many people. I mean, November 5th, we're going to see, I believe, more people than we have ever seen vote in a election in the United States history. So just to be able to be a part of that, even at the local level, I think is very exciting, and I'm really looking forward to it.
So, one of the reasons I started this program is to do an emphasis on local government. And, everybody's going to be talking about presidential elections, and every year they're talking about governor or whatever other big office is up. But the local town boards are the ones that do all the work. Uh, why is running for town board in particular important in Clay? What are some of the issues that are going on in Clay? I think everybody knows about Micron. We'll talk a little bit about that. But what do you want to focus on? What are some of the issues that you want to bring to the foreground?
What I'd like to bring is, first of all, I think your local politics is almost 90%. You deal with your local politicians, whether it be garbage pickup, your road, I mean, just maintenance, things like that, probably 90% of the time. And national politics, not as much. It gets all the publicity, national politics, but I mean, everything is local, almost, I've always said. Politics is 90% local. And that's where you can really make a change, really make a difference. And like you said, with Micron coming in, this is the greatest opportunity we have ever had. It's the biggest investment, largest investment ever in the United States history. And it could bring upwards of 30 to 50,000 jobs to the area in the next 20 years. I mean, it's a very exciting time. And I just wanted to make sure that we're going about it in a manner where we're just not building everything in clay, everything. I mean, I just think it should be checked a little bit more than it is now. Because, well, one thing we have, I don't know if you want to touch on this later, but we have only had Republicans rule in the town of Clay elected in over 30 years. We have not had a Democrat in any position in Clay. So it's almost
That's right.
things,
No,
not that they don't go unchecked,
yeah,
but if there was a check and balances system, like what America was founded on, checks and balances, you don't really have any checks there. I mean, in balances, it's just all what they want to put through, and it's usually when it is put through. I mean, it usually the voting. I mean, at the town board is always unanimous. I mean, not many things have ever been voted down in the town of Clay once it reaches the town board. So, but that's one reason why I really like to be a part of it, just to offer another set of eyes, another view, just to make sure that we're really doing our best at just protecting all the residents of Clay and just making, with Micron and everything else that is going to happen, just making it just really good for everybody, not a certain few. I just want to see everybody prosper and everything, and residents not be overwhelmed with everything that's going to be going on and stuff in the future.
yeah. I mean, let's talk about that. Let's dive into Clay because I did a weekly walk on it a couple of weeks ago. The town of Clay itself is the biggest town in Onondaga, over 40,000 voters. That's nothing to shake.
No, no, it's the
State.
17th largest town in New York State.
Yeah, it's the 17th largest town in New York State. It's one of the biggest towns in upstate New York. It is huge. And but it's also blue. I think people don't realize
It
that.
is.
It,
Yep.
it is, it votes blue in all of the national elections. It votes blue in all of the state
It
elections.
does.
Votes blue for our judicial races that we run countywide.
Mhm.
Um, it has a history of voting blue, but not quite at the town level. And I think
Exactly.
part of that is because we haven't contested it, and that's why I'm so happy that you're going forward. But let's talk about the changing nature of the suburbs. I mean, the suburbs used to be when I was growing up in Onondaga County. It was bright blue Syracuse and bright red
Bright
suburb,
red. Yes.
and that was the end of it. But we've seen DeWitt and Manlius and Salina and Clay and Geddes and Camillus all start to have more Democrats than Republicans registered in it and behave in ways that support Democratic candidates on a national level. It's a presidential year. Is that your plan? Is to kind of tap into that momentum that we have? We have a big congressional race with John Mannion, a big Senate
Yes.
race with Chris Ryan. Is that so? Are you working with them on that too?
Yes. Yeah. Talking to them, working with them. I did some stuff earlier with them, and yeah. So I'm going to ride seriously, like ride their coattails, and I mean different things from the federal level, from the presidential race down to the congressional, down to the state senate races, and everything like that. Because the one thing in Clay where we've always had a problem, you could maybe correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I've always joked around that in off-year elections, when we run for town office, that Democrats just do not get out to vote. And with that, you almost start in the hole. You're like 5, 10 points in the hole because Republicans get out to vote in off-year elections. Democrats do not. And with this election being in a presidential year election, even your election, is just I think it's going to be much more attainable than it has been in the past with off-year elections. So uh,
Yeah, and that's why I'm a fan of the legislation that is going to eventually move towns to the
exactly.
years. I mean, that's being fought
Yeah,
by the
we
town
know.
of Clay. They're spending
Yes.
money on that lawsuit as well as
Mhm.
the county of Onondaga. But I saw you do the thumbs up, so I don't even have to ask a question. But I'm going to ask it: is this something that you think would be helpful for not just Democrats but anybody running for office in Clay?
Yeah, I think so because in a off-year election, there's not as much. You'll see campaign signs. You won't hear advertising, which can be a good thing, not hearing advertising, but you're not going to know the candidates. Many times people won't even know there's an election that year. If it's a off-year election when it's just a town race or a village race, well, town race. I know villages are include that, but town race. So I think it can do nothing but help everybody who's running, anybody who's running at the local level. And I'm a huge proponent of that. And hopefully this lawsuit gets taken care of sooner than not. And we could see some really good people on both sides get elected to office because of it, helping them.
Yeah, just a note on the lawsuit. I'm a member of it. I'm a respondent, so I can't talk about it too much.
Yes.
But I will say just a reminder when I talk about the lawsuit is people think that the lawsuit is stopping the legislation. That's not the case. They have to win the lawsuit and they have to win it on appeal because anytime you sue New York State, there's an automatic stay. Even if you win on the district level, you have to go to appeal. So what I'm saying is the law is in effect. It will go into place in 2026 unless there is a loss at the appellate level in New York, and
Okay.
and that will probably be January, February before that gets resolved. I think it may take longer. Who knows?
Okay.
But
Yeah. Thank you.
that's more for the audience as well. I always like to put that out there.
Yeah.
Um, but um, but so let's talk about micro. Obviously, this is the biggest news to come into our our home. I'm very much a supporter of it,
As
but
am
it's
I.
going to change. Not just on Onondaga County, but Clay. This is where it's going to be located. Conceivably, a lot of the 50,000 workers that are thinking about coming to Onondaga County, many of them are going to try to live as close to their work as possible. So out there in Clay, and we have a housing shortage here in Onondaga County. You know, what do you think the town's role should be in this? So I mean, what are is are the is the town, how can the town get involved to make sure that this project is successful and that the people moving here have places to go?
That's, I mean, I'll admit, I mean, I may not be as, know I mean, I don't think anybody really knows the answers to that. But I mean, responsible growth. We have to have uh, definitely more housing, affordable housing also be coming into Clay. But I mean, that really is tough. I mean, I would, I guess, I think all the areas around Clay are going to be affected. Oswego County, especially too, there will be many people moving to Oswego County. But the town of Clay, specifically right where we are, we just need to have responsible growth and also affordable housing along with that. Because we're going to be, I mean, there's going to be such an influx coming in like we have never seen. I forgot the exact stat, but it was to start, was it 2,400 homes a year? I believe I saw a statistic. I forgot the exact amount, but it's just amazing that the number of homes that will be needed in this area. And I mean, that's like the $1 million question right there is how are we going to house all these people and do it affordably and things like that. So, I mean,
Right. I mean, that is where we need willing partners, I think, in the town and in the, and we have to relax some of these, you know, multi-dwelling zoning restrictions that are,
yes,
oh, because you know, I mean, we already have a housing shortage in
yes, we do.
our state and in Onondaga County. There's already an affordable housing shortage. And if we're bringing 50,000 people in, even if they don't have a problem with the affordableness of the housing because they have higher wages, they're taking up housing from other people
Exactly.
who will,
That's it.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so, you know, multi-unit apartments and, you know, more of, you know, relaxing some of these rules on single, you know, use single family domiciles is something that I know Syracuse, where I live, is dealing with, but I think that's going to have to be in the higher density suburban areas like Clay as well, don't you think?
Oh no, definitely. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's tough. I mean, I'm thinking right now as I'm talking to you, all the areas of Clay. I mean, we do have quite a few areas that are undeveloped yet, but we're not. I shouldn't say we're running out of space and things like that. But I'm just thinking. I mean, look around. I mean, there's quite a few areas to build, but yeah, definitely. I agreed with what you said about the multifamily housing and things like that. They do have to with the rules and stuff. But it's just it really is like I said, the $1 million question. I don't have the answer for it. I mean, I hope to learn a lot more about it after I'm elected to town board and really get into that more and just make sure it happens, or at least we try to make that happen in the town of Clay to keep, because Clay is a great place to live. I mean, different parts of Clay here, we're close to 81, we're close to the thruway 481. We've got, I mean, it's such a great place to get to everything, and I mean, everything's close, and I mean, it's just a great place to live, and hopefully many more people can enjoy those aspects about Clay.
Yeah, I like what you said about that, about like that you're just willing to listen, that you're willing to be open
Definitely.
and talk to constituents. And I think, you know, you kind of talked about that a little bit earlier, that this one party rule, not just rule, but one party representation. I mean, there's been no Democrat that has sat on the board forever, even and that has led to a little bit of a groupthink. You know, and we saw that with the solar farm in Clay, you know, about 5 or 6 years ago. They put up that solar farm, which is great. We
Yes.
all are supportive of it, but they didn't bother to check with their fellow towns or what their rights were for charging uh for lease rentals or
Mhm.
taxation on it. And so the solar farm exists without any money going to the town of Clay. Is that right?
Oh yeah, I mean, yes, I'm not 100% sure on exactly how it works, but no, that's what I've heard, and it was done maybe too quickly. But I mean, it is great that it's there and everything. I drive by it quite a bit and everything. I mean, they've got it really nice and everything, things like that. But it's just, yeah, exactly. Nobody knows really exactly how to. Yeah, I think they just rushed more with that. And the other thing too is along like on that same side is the I don't know if you heard about the concrete batch plant that they wanted to build in Clay, a private
Oh,
developer
no, yeah,
wanted.
let's talk about that. Let's talk about that because
Yeah.
it had some pretty big
Mhm.
controversy going on
Oh
now.
yeah.
Right? So
Oh,
tell
there
me about
was.
it.
I believe they had 3,000 signatures against it. The gentleman is a very nice gentleman. I personally knew him, very nice guy. But he wanted to put a cement batch plant. Everybody thinks it's for Micron. Micron will have their own batch plants. This was for all the other growth that will be coming to the Clay area. So this batch plant didn't really have anything to do with Micron, just the offshoot of all the other businesses that will be coming in. And I believe it was in February. There was a town board meeting. I was not there, and there were no, as you know, no Democrats on the town board since Don McLaughlin back in the early '90s, very early '90s. And there was a great lady who does more to keep the town of Clay informed, its residents, than anybody. She's actually a Republican. Then her name's Janet Rathbun, and she was at that town board meeting. There may have been one other person there, and that cement batch plant almost went through. If it wasn't for her being at that board meeting, it would have already been a done deal, and probably for the I don't know how far built, but they would be building it right now. So she questioned it and said, "Whoa, whoa, wait, what is this?" And wait, they were ready to vote on it. It was on the agenda that night in February, and because of her and her questioning that, so that's why I was saying like checks and balances. That's why I would love to get elected. So it wouldn't even really make it that far. Go, wait, we have to talk about this a little more. This is like right near schools. It's right near homes. There's children. There's elderly all around. So because of Janet, that's why this whole project was stopped because of one person at the board meeting. And I mean, that's why I would have liked to, as I said, be there on the board so we could talk about things like that even before they um, make it to the floor to be voted on by the board.
One person in the audience. She's not on even on the town board. It was just somebody standing
Somebody
up
in the
saying,
audience.
wait,
Excuse
hold
me.
on, let's figure this out. And they didn't
Yeah,
have the answers. They were ready to just vote on it. And
exactly.
yeah, and
And
that's why it's important to have, and I believe that, all over the place, you should have people of all different stuff,
exactly.
parties in there trying to, uh, figure out, and just question things sometimes.
Exactly.
Although Democrats, when we are in total control, we tend to question each other a little bit more. So,
Yeah,
but
we do. Yeah.
so Dave, we're kind of getting near the end of the podcast. In the time that I like to have on this, and it's been a great conversation. But I'm sure there's some things that we haven't touched on yet. So, what haven't we talked about? This is your chance to kind of tell the voters either a little bit more about yourself, talk about your great dog, or whatever, any
Yeah.
pets you might have, but or a more important issue like in the town of Clay that we haven't been able to
Well,
touch on yet.
I think what it really comes down to in the town of Clay, we haven't really had a Democrat elected since Don McLaughlin in the early '90s. I believe '92 or '93. Don served the last time he served with the town of Clay. Great gentleman, very articulate, very smart. He was a great addition to the town board. But along with that, when things reached the town board, like the cement batch plant there that evening, everything almost gets voted through. I had a statistic last year. I apologize. I don't have it right now. Since in the last 10 years, they're voted on many different things in the town of Clay. And there were roughly, I believe, 24,000 votes cast, or 24,000 votes, I believe. And with of those 24,000 votes, all of those votes were yes votes by the town of Clay, except for, I believe it was 93 or 93 or 94 no votes. So you had like 23,900 yay votes, 90 no votes and nay votes in the town of Clay, which is crazy. And that's where I'm just saying where I think we really need somebody from another party just to the checks and balances, just to make sure everything that is uh, being tried to voted on and put through in the town of Clay, that it's going to help everybody. Because along with that, I mean, right now we're afforded the greatest opportunity any town in America has ever had, the town of Clay. And we just have to do it responsibly. I'm huge. I mean, I'm a pro Micron supporter. I think it's going to be great. And I just want to see it really done more responsibly than not. And I mean, I'm sure some things may not be the best for Clay, so maybe those should not pass. But along with that, like I said, less than 100 votes in 10 years. Individual votes were nay votes, and there were 24,000, I believe, 900, 23,000 or 24,900 yes votes. I mean, it's just crazy that everything really gets voted through. We just can't keep that up with, I mean, everything that's happening with this opportunity that we have in play.
Yeah, and I gotta point out that one of our biggest early voting sites is right there at the Clay Town Hall.
All right.
Going to be very busy this year, so if you're out in Clay, think about choosing a time to go early vote
Mhm.
and casting your ballot. Uh, Dave, it's been a pleasure talking to you. It's a
Oh,
pleasure
thank
to
you,
know you
Dustin.
for these two
Yeah.
decades that we've known each other now. And I'm so happy that you're running for office again. And I'm excited for the future of Clay.
Me
Um,
too.
and
For
I think
everyone here.
for everyone there, but I'm also excited to see how you do this fall. So good luck this fall.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
And thank you for coming on Zoom with Arnie.
All right. Thank you. Talk to you soon, Dustin.
And that was my interview with Dave Capria, running for town board in the town of Clay. Great conversation, great guy. Huge race and a huge opportunity this year. And he's out there working very hard. So if you're in the town of Clay, make your choices between the candidates. This week, I intend to once again have a full slate. I have Commissioner in the car on Tuesday. We'll be talking about the absentee ballots that are going out this next week. Weekly wonk. I haven't yet done this week's weekly wonk. The Zoom with Zarni is in, so I may be doing the town of Fabius sometime in the middle of the week, or at the end, or next weekend, depending on what my schedule is this week. Zoom with Zarni next week will be on hold as I get you my Zarni seminar on absentee and vote by mail ballots. That will be next Friday. So enjoy, and remember to go to DustinZarni.com for all your content and election news updates. Bye-bye.